Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development is facing with regard to that. But Akisa, as I did indicate, also there is a developing story here in Parliament where now we've seen an attempt to change the Constitution, amend the Constitution, and do away with the executive, to restructure the executive position as we understand presently, where this particular proposal is being introduced by TRT Member of Parliament William Kamket, who now wants to introduce the position of the Prime Minister and do away with the position of the Deputy President. So these if these proposals are agreed, then we'll see Parliament elect the President, who will serve a one term of 7 years maximum. So those are the proposals that are being introduced here, and the Prime Minister will be the head of government, and the person will be running the cabinet. So President, if these amendments are adopted by Parliament, then it will mean that the President will basically be ceremonial. We've also seen some of the changes being introduced here is that unlike the present situation where now Kenyans of electing senators will be devolved to the county assemblies. MCAs will now be the ones who will be electing the senator to represent that particular county to serve in the Senate. The other proposal that is being introduced in this particular amendment to the Constitution is to do with the office of the official opposition leader. This time round, we'll also have the official leader of the opposition will have an office established for him in this particular amendment that are being, these are particular proposals that are being put forward by TRT Member of Parliament William Kamket. So these are the hot amendment or proposal that has just come from the mill now, and we're just trying to see how some of those nitty-gritties in this particular amendment that proposes far-reaching changes in the way Kenyans have known the election of their president, and now that they are introducing the Prime Minister slot. It is something immediately after the August 8th election, there was talk to amend the Constitution and introduce the position of the Prime Minister and Deputy Prime Ministers. In this particular arrangement, there is a Prime Minister who will elect 2 deputies, and the Prime Minister will be a person from the majority party and or the party with the largest coalition with will present the Prime Minister, and or the largest party is the one that will have to elect a Prime Minister in this particular case. And for the President to be elected a president by Parliament, then you must garner 2/3 vote from members from both the National Assembly and the Senate. So those are the changes that have just come here at the presence of Parliament this particular hour, as you are going through to browse this particular bill and maybe bring the full report to members, our viewers out there later in the evening. Akisa?
Then if indeed this particular bill goes through the necessary procedure, what would this mean for Kenyans? Is it another referendum in the offing?
Thank you very much. You know, in our current constitution, if you touch on the term of the president, it's something that will require a referendum. Any attempt to change the term of the president will require a referendum. So given that this proposal here is that a president shall serve one term of 7 years and non-renewable, then it means that should this initiative pass through Parliament, then Kenyans out there will have an opportunity through a referendum and also make their input on these particular proposals. Akisa.
We understand that the Prime Minister will also elect 2 deputies. Talk to us about that.
Yes, in this particular arrangement, the Prime Minister will, given that he's the leader of the majority party and or coalition in both houses, then once he is elected the Prime Minister, then he will have that opportunity to elect, to choose 2 deputy Prime Ministers who will be assisting him on the day running of the affairs of the state, given that the Prime Minister will be the head of state and government. But the President will basically be ceremonial, and most of the work will be, the President will also be given that opportunity to make appointments, say, of those cabinet secretaries, principal secretaries, the command of the police of the police service. But basically, it will be the Prime Minister who will be running the show, with the President given ceremonial duties. So it will be upon the Prime Minister to choose the deputies whom he feels will be able to deliver on the mandate of his government, his or her government, when we come to that, Akisa.
I mean, Patrick, just looking at how we are working out things currently and how things are set up in government, this particular proposal proposes that the Prime Minister will be the party leader of the largest party. Looking at the dynamics, even in Parliament right now, the largest party is Jubilee and the party leader is the President. I mean, being a senior parliamentary reporter, how are you seeing this panning out in the near future?
We've seen every after-election year there have been cries about probably people making claims that maybe there was a rigged election, probably certain parts of the country have not been well represented into government or the executive. So I think this is an attempt to ensure that we have at least many people maybe trying to hold different positions in government to reflect the face of Kenya. Remember, this time around, this is not the first time that we are having this talk about the position of the Prime Minister. In the Bomas draft that was later became contentious and was not adopted, we had the position of the Prime Minister before that constitution was changed in Naivasha, and we had now the current 2010 constitution. That time round in 2004, during the Bomas talks, there was a popular talk about the office of the Prime Minister, who was to be the head of government, and with the President becoming a ceremonial head. But I think we saw that time when the Wako draft came on board, then it meant that there were attempts to water down that position of the Prime Minister to become, at least to cede some powers from it, before eventually that position was deleted from the constitution, and we went the presidential system. But now with this amendment, it appears now there is a push towards the parliamentary system, and if then the parliamentary system wins, then the position of the deputy president will be done away with, and we'll see the president, despite being elected by members of parliament in both the National Assembly and the Senate, then most of the work for the president will be ceremonial, and the Prime Minister will be the one will be running the government as head of government and state. So that, I think, that is the arrangement that they're trying to bring on board, to see that there is a Prime Minister who will be elected as a member of Parliament. So I think the position here is to ensure that Parliament gets more of its teeth and independence when it comes to running government affairs. I like the situation where now the executive is not part of Parliament. So I think it's a move to ensure that, again, that a part of the executive also becomes gets to the legislature. At least it has someone who can be able to coordinate government functions in Parliament and be able to answer questions from members of Parliament where they want to get to understand really whether government has delivered and or not. Akisa.
So then we understand that the position of the Deputy President will also be scrapped. Patrick?
Yes, the position of the Deputy President will be scrapped, but as I did indicate, this is just a bill that the proposals that are coming, they've just come. We've landed my fingers on it a few minutes ago, so I'll be going through it to get the finer details about the bill, because it is it's about it is a bill of about should be. It's a huge one, about 40 pages, so I'll need to go through it to get to know really what each clause means. And later on, I think in our later bulletins, we'll be able to tell our viewers what this particular bill entails. It's about to do the Constitution of Kenya Amendment Legislative Proposal 2017, introduced by a member of TRT, that is William Kamket, and the final details, I think, it will be in our later bulletins.
Have you gotten any reactions from members of Parliament from either side of or both sides of the political divide on the bill?
So far, as I did indicate, it's something that we've just landed my fingers on, and it's really just a few minutes ago, just about 20 minutes ago. And for those finer details, in fact, even going through it, I've not really gone through the entire document. So just landed my fingers on it 20 minutes ago, and I think for more on these, we'll get any other reactions, and even from those people maybe close to the bill, we'll get from them later in our subsequent bulletins.
Patrick, thank you for that update. That's our senior parliamentary reporter, Patrick Amimo, with the latest news from Parliament. That particular bill that has been sponsored by TRT Member of Parliament, seeking for the the President to serve for 7 years and a new position for Prime Minister and 2 Deputy Prime Ministers to be formed. So Patrick Amimo, as he says, will be giving us more details in our subsequent bulletins on that 40-page